let's get into Big 12 power rankings on the Monty Show. We like to do it every week. Seems like we probably spent way too much time on that. So
I think it's close to home, though. I think it's a real issue.
It does hit close to home, and if you haven't figured it, I know you think I am crazy, but yeah, I am passionate about that.
And by the way, we're not owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so we can talk about what we want to talk about.
Are you sure we're not bought and paid for?
Yeah, maybe I'll go find a blue shirt for tomorrow.
Every week somebody says, you guys, whose hands are in your pocket?
Okay.
Uncle Sam, because I just got my tax bill. Big 12 power rankings. Should we start at the bottom of the top?
Start at the top because there's too many at the bottom.
Back to the top. Yeah. Do you even lift? Yeah. Who are the five best teams in the Big 12 right now? In this order, number 5, I think I would put BYU at number 5. I think BYU is having a renaissance football season.
Mm-hmm.
I think BYU is getting really good defensive play. But the thing that worries me is I think Connor Pay being off that offensive line is a real problem. And the inconsistency with which this team has run the ball and LJ Martin's inability to stay healthy for BYU. And we've talked about this a lot with BYU. I think LJ Martin is a critical performer for this football team. LJ Martin's inability to stay healthy and be on the field. I guess we should call it LJ Anklegate. I think is a real problem for BYU. And it's why I don't have them in the top 3. I think they are over their heads a little bit on defense. And I think that the injury issues are piling up on offense. That's why I think they're the number 5 team in the Big 12.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, the only question that remains for BYU is are you real or are you fake with how well you've played to start this year? And, I think we're going to find out as the season goes along. The things I think about for BYU, yes, are the injuries. That's paramount for every football team. That would be BYU included. I also think that Jake Retzloff has to protect the football. I love the guy, but I'm not scared to say that he turns it over too much. And when you turn it over at the rate he does, that will eventually come back to get you. Now, you were able to pull out the victory against Baylor. Obviously the K-State game went the way the K-State game went. So you didn't have a lot of opportunities to turn the football over there. I'm just a little bit like, I'd have to look at their schedule. I don't remember when they play Iowa State, but when you play Iowa State level defenses, you can't turn the football over. It has to be. And I think to your point with the injuries, when you're playing the better defenses, you got to be able to run the football.
Yep. Totally agree.
So I would agree. A lot of people have them number 1. They're not the best team in the Big 12 right now. I would have them in my top 5, certainly. And, I think 5 is not unfair.
I think they're number 5. Can we just skip number 4? Let's just go to number 3. Number 3 is we should. Number 4 is the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I believe that Texas Tech is the 4th best team in the conference. That offense continues to perform. Obviously, there's one huge hole in Texas Tech's football team. They can't stop anybody.
Right.
And so if I were to really make a ranking here, I would probably have BYU and Texas Tech, 4 and 4A.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're very close. And my question is, can BYU beat Texas Tech in a shootout? And that's a question I don't know the answer to, because Taj Brooks is the best running back in the Big 12, in my opinion. And that's why I have Texas Tech at number 4.
Yeah, and I think, when Baron Morton's playing well, he's one of the best quarterbacks the Big 12 has. I think he's explosive. I think he can put the ball anywhere he needs to put it. And I think that Texas Tech has had a rocky start. And, there were a lot of questions about Joey. And, they are improving. They are, they're taking strides. I think my concern for Texas Tech is, again, consistency. I can't sit here and be like, oh, well, hey, you're playing great now, and I just believe that's going to continue the rest of the year, mainly because you played like garbage to start the year. So, again, when we're doing power rankings, just keep in mind it is week to week. So I would agree that when we just look at it, compare both of these teams, BYU at 5, Tech at 4, I think is extremely fair. And you know what? The other thought I have is, man, is it really unfortunate that not to go down a Gundy rant, but I look at power rankings and I was like, man, Oklahoma State should be in this part of the conversation. We should be talking about a team in Oklahoma State being, that fifth to third best team in the conference.
Yep.
And I think for the Big 12, that's just really unfortunate right now.
All right. Time to really piss some people off. Number 3, Fingergate, the Utah Utes. I'm as the third best team in my top 5 Big 12 teams. I think that defense has shown itself to be more than capable. Obviously, Fingergate with Cam Rising. I'm with you. I'm done talking about Cam Rising. Isaac Wilson's the starting quarterback of the Utah Utes. And I think they have a chance every single week from here out to prove who they really are. It starts in Tempe this weekend, and here we are on Wednesday morning before a Saturday game. I'm taking the Utah Utes at number 3.
Okay, who do you have at number 2? Because I disagree. The Utes are the third best team. Who's your next team in line? Who's your next? Who you got? You got K-State next?
Are we playing by your rules?
No, but
No?
I'm just asking.
Yes, K-State's number 2.
Okay, so see, I have these teams flip-flopped. I would have K-State at number 3. And the reason I have them at number 3 behind the Utes is because I don't think that K-State's offense is consistent enough to beat defenses the caliber of Utah. Now, everyone's going to say, oh, well, Utah lost to Arizona, and it's Isaac Wilson, and they're playing terrible, and everything, the sky's falling. And I don't disagree. Isaac Wilson is incredibly mediocre so far as a quarterback. He's shown some skill running. He's shown flashes with his arm. But the reality is he's a young guy, and he's learning this job on the fly. So I still put the Utes ahead of K-State because of that defense, because of Kyle Whittingham, because I think there's a consistency there.
Yeah.
But I think it's very close.
I am still to this day shockingly disappointed they lost to Arizona.
Yeah.
The Utes
That's
lost
just
to
not
Arizona.
a good performance.
And it's why I have them 3. K-State, yes, I have K-State number 2. Don't love Avery Johnson.
Yeah.
And I know that my friends in Manhattan in Wildcat country across this great nation of ours get all pissed off every time I say this. I am not a fan of Avery Johnson as a quarterback.
And I think you've been spot on about who dude is, right? I mean, what have you said?
He's not a guy I want standing in the pocket throwing the football for me.
Yeah.
Especially in a game of consequence. He's not. I think it is clear and obvious that Will Howard was the better and is the better quarterback. And you made a huge mistake letting a guy who was emotionally reacting, a visceral reaction, walking off the field in Manhattan for the last time last year in Will Howard. He wanted to be there. You let him walk away to Ohio State, and you're reaping what you sowed. And Avery Johnson is going to win you games, and unfortunately, in the biggest moments, he's going to lose you games. And he lost you the BYU game. And with the prolific running attack, he needs to stay in the pocket and deliver the football. And 1 out of every 6 plays, run an RPO for the guy. I'm with you on that. But he cannot stand in the pocket and deliver the football.
Yeah.
Yet they are still, K-State is still the number 2 team in the conference.
Yeah, and I think that, K-State, I think, they deserve to be in that 2-3 slot, however you have them.
Yes.
Not just because Avery is explosive as a runner, but because you have depth at running back. And for that reason, you have to look at them and say, okay, cool. There's a lot of teams that can run the football, but maybe they've only got that one workhorse back. And the depth behind them isn't very good. And so for that reason, they're going to be limited. But K-State has the luxury of having Avery Johnson. You've got Giddens. You've got, the rest of that room that really can provide. And so I think that K-State is a team that week in and week out can put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
And that's why I have them. Me personally, I have them at 3, and I have the Utes at 2 because the Utes, I think defensively can stop teams like K-State.
I agree.
They can do that.
I agree. I have the best team in this conference, number 1 at the top of our Big 12 power rankings, the Iowa State Cyclones. And I will continue to die on this hill that Iowa State is the best team in this conference. Right now on October 9th, I think they've done everything I've needed them to do to cement that. The Cyclones came out against Baylor and did not look good. And then what did they do? Like every very good football team, kicked it in the gear. I think it is that block punt for a touchdown Iowa State has not faced the best teams in this conference yet. Oh, they're going to. They're going to. And I see you have the schedule up.
Yes.
Look what's left for Iowa State.
So, like you just said, they just played Baylor, won that game 43-21. This week, you're going to be at West Virginia.
West Virginia.
The following is UCF. Then you've got Tech. Then you're at Kansas. Then you're home for Cincinnati, at Utah, home for K-State. So we're going to find out, and we're going to find out real quick. And I would expect you to be able to beat West Virginia mainly because of the stature of that defense. I think, West Virginia wins games by running the football, possessing the football, and just suffocating you on the offensive side. And so I would expect you to beat West Virginia, but UCF is the game where I look at that and I say, okay, yes, on paper, you should beat UCF 100%, but that's a potential trap game. And then after that, I don't know. You're going to have to evaluate where you are because once you play Texas Tech, like that's a team that can beat you.
All right, before we get you to the bottom half in the 5 worst teams in the Big 12, let's give some shout outs for our donations for the Advocates. Advocates donations. We're just 20 minutes away from giving away an Amazon gift card. We need $240 more.
Oh, we got that covered, bro.
So let's go with Monty Show Kids for $10.
I think it's one more down. We already showed that one.
We did?
Yeah, I think that's Maury. I'd have to go back and look. This is Calford getting us over the line.
Wow. Marty's Kids for Halloween costumes, $250.
Thank you. Chris Karn.
No smoking this weekend. BYU tailgate and early Bears breakfast, the Monty Show. Let's go.
And then this is Fat Jesus.
And then Fat Jesus with $50. Let's go.
So we are officially over the line, guys.
Let's go. I love it.
Nice job.
I love it.
Nice job clutching up.
Thank you so much, you guys. When we are talking about raising money for the Advocates and trying to raise money for kids that, having a Halloween costume at Halloween time. I mean, we all take that for granted.
Yeah.
And I think it is something that a lot of kids take for granted. And unfortunately, too many cannot take it for granted because they don't have that ability.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see guys like Fat Jesus and you see guys like Chris Karn and Calford and you see everybody that's donated today making a difference, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Awesome that you guys did that. I thank you so much for raising money. And there's so much coming from the Advocates. They obviously, they do their Sub for Santa coming up. They provide turkeys and meals at Thanksgiving. But thank you so much for donating. That is absolutely fantastic. Well done. All right. Woo, that feels good.
Yes.
Way to go, man.
Yes.
Way to go. I really appreciate that. Big 12 Power Rankings presented by our friends at Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app. Open a new account using the promo code Monty. You make a $5 deposit, they'll give you 50 more. You can play all season long. You can make $5 bets on football. Flex play, you make 3 selections, more or less. That's as simple as it is. Will Joe Burrow throw more than a touchdown or less than a touchdown? That's all you have to answer. It's so simple. It's why tens of millions of Americans are playing Prize Picks. It's a massive, massive platform. Hook it up. Teddy Wayman, the original prize picker on this show.
Yes.
So you have him to thank for it. Download the app, use a promo code Monty. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more. Big 12 Power Rankings. Who are the 5 worst teams in the Big 12? I think the worst team in the Big 12 right now is the Baylor Bears. And who saw this coming? Oh, everybody did. That Dave Aranda still has a job is amazing to me. Baylor just has not improved really, in my opinion, in any way, shape, or form when it comes to the details. And I think it's what's preventing them from winning games, and it's why Dave Aranda has to be replaced in Waco.
Yeah, I think the tough part with Baylor is you're right. There's a sentiment where, he's just been able to keep his job. Unfortunately, I don't have them as the worst team in the league, mainly because they have 2 wins and mainly several of their games have been 1-score games. And, I look at the Colorado loss. Now, that's Baylor's fault. You didn't execute. And I agree with that 100%. You were right in that game, though. You were right in that game. You know,
But
you
didn't
look
you
at
have Iowa State on the ropes?
you did, and the Iowa State loss is a bad loss.
You got
did.
outscored 40-7.
Yeah, they came out and said, "Hey, here we are. We're the best team in the conference. We're better than you. We're putting this to bed."
Oh, you think you're going to win this game, Baylor?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
we're gonna beat you the rest of this game 40-7.
Yeah, and you know,
Come
I
on.
just
Come on.
Yeah. I would have. We're talking about the worst team in the conference. I still have Kansas as the worst team in the conference.
Kansas has been in position to win every one of its games, essentially, and just has not been able to close. That's not where Baylor is. Baylor just does not execute and doesn't pay attention to details.
Mhm.
It is shocking that the Jayhawks can't find a way to win a game.
Yeah.
They're better than Baylor. In my opinion, I
Yeah.
think they're better than Baylor. That's why I have them as the second worst team. And then it really is a hodgepodge. Oak State or TCU?
I gotta say, Oak State's worse than TCU, and I only say that because it's a mess. Like, nobody came into this season saying TCU was winning this conference, right? What did people say about TCU? Hey, they're going to be a middle of the pack team.
Just went to the college football playoff.
Yeah, like, you know, you're trying to build this roster back. Like, you know, you're not going to be the worst team in the conference, but you're also not going to be the best. Conversely, everyone was saying Oklahoma State was going to win the conference, and now obviously that's all over with.
I did an interview in Houston the other day on a radio show, and they asked me if Oklahoma State is the most disappointing team in all of college football. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. And I think that when you look at Ollie Gordon, is he not the prime candidate to hit the portal?
Yeah.
The attrition is remarkable. And that's why I have Oak State as the third worst team in the conference.
Couldn't agree more. And I think that, you know, I think that Oklahoma State fan is starting to come to the realization that coordinators are going to get fired at the end of the year. That this team is going to look very different. And I do think at the end of this year, whatever your record finishes, Mike Gundy's got to ask some questions about Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy needs to have a come to Jesus moment, as we call it, and say, hey, do I want to keep taking this job seriously? Do I want to keep being, you know, a mediocre ass football coach, or am I going to embrace the times and get with it? And if he doesn't, he will be fired inside of the next 2 seasons if this type of play continues.
I don't know how you don't fire Casey Dunn tomorrow, yesterday, the week before.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I am a little surprised that Casey Dunn is still I don't know how that
and maybe
pans.
Oak State fan get in the comments section. Maybe I'm overreacting to it, but
yeah.
I think then you have TCU, and then it's shocking, but Houston is the 5th worst team in the conference. I have warned you about Willie Fritz in Houston.
Yeah.
And I think Willie's moving that program. What they did to TCU, and sure, some of that's an indictment on Spike Dykes' kid. Totally get that. You guys understand that since he went to the playoff, I think he's 9-21, 9-12, excuse me. He's won 40% of his games since they went to the playoff. Houston's a good football team on the rise. They're moving in the right direction.
Right.
They're going to be a good football team by the end of the year. Next year, I would expect Willie Fritz to have Houston in the middle of this conference.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, you know,
the road ahead is not easy.
It's not easy. And when we talk about like where Houston's at as far as like power rankings are concerned, when I look at Houston, I think about UCF, and I think about these two teams being very close to each other as far as who's better, who's worse type situation.
Yeah.
And I'm really concerned. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm really concerned about UCF.
I am as well.
Because you look at their schedule and, you know, you lose to Colorado in pretty dominant fashion. I mean, Colorado came in and ran all over your ass. And then you lost to a bad Florida team. Now, admittedly, it's on the road. Okay, I can write that off. Fine.
How are you losing like this with RJ Harvey and KJ Jefferson? If somebody wants to explain that to me.
Yeah. And then
because I don't get it.
You talk about the road ahead. I mean, UCF's road ahead is as difficult as it gets. You've got Cincinnati this week. You've got Iowa State the following. You're going to BYU to die. Then you've got Arizona. Then you've got Arizona State, West Virginia, and Utah. There are no more off weeks, bro. Like, and that's why I'm saying, like, right here today, maybe UCF is ranked just slightly ahead of Houston. But when it's all said and done, like, I'm looking at this schedule and I'm saying UCF isn't going to be more than a 5-win team. I think you'll beat Cincinnati. You're going to lose to Iowa State. You're going to lose
In
to
Ames.
BYU. I think you're losing to Arizona.
No.
Yeah, I think they'll lose to Arizona. Yeah. Dude, you let Colorado do that to you.
Well, Colorado's got an explosive offense.
Well,
I would agree with that. But you're
and maybe which
T-Mac
Arizona
is one
are we gonna
receiver.
get?
Yeah,
Which
T-Mac's
Arizona are
one
we getting?
receiver.
Yeah.
I agree. Noah Fafita's explosive, but they're not the offense that Colorado is.
Okay, so give them Arizona. Give them Arizona. So right there, if you beat Cincinnati and Arizona, you're at 5 wins with 3 weeks left in the season.
6 at Arizona State. You're going to lose to West Virginia and Utah. You're going to win 6 games, in my opinion. It's a huge disappointment if you're UCF. This should have been an 8-win schedule. Losing back-to-back to Colorado and Florida is a massive disappointment.
So when we talk about Big 12 power rankings and Houston versus UCF and like what that looks like, I tend to agree. I think Houston's going to be in a better spot than UCF is when it's all said and done.
Yeah, but Houston's got at Kansas, Utah, K-State, at Arizona, Baylor, at BYU.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they win another game.
We'll see.
I don't know that they win it. They need to be thanking their lucky stars. They went to Fort Worth.
Think about, but also consider the fact, just something we see every year, at the end of the season, like if you look at Houston's schedule, like let's say Baylor is just, they're flaming.
Yes.
And let's say that it's clear Dave's going to get fired at that point, or that there's going to be massive overhaul. Baylor could be way less of an opponent with 2 weeks left in the season than they are now. BYU, who the hell knows what BYU is going to be at the end of the year? I mean, this could be just a complete overachiever. You could be an 8-9 win team playing for your college football life, and that could be an absolute death knell for Houston. Or it could be BYU lost too many games, they're out of it, and now we're going to play the young guys in the last week of the year. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think Houston might have some opportunities, but I just don't like the direction that UCF is heading towards.
No, I think teams like Houston and BYU next year are going to be much, much improved. I think BYU with another year in this offense and defense, if Aaron Roderick doesn't beat BYU week in and week out, they have a real chance to win every game they play the rest of the year.
And notice what he said there. He didn't misspeak. If Aaron Roderick doesn't beat
the
BYU,
offensive coordinator
doesn't beat BYU week in and week out, they're going to be in a really good spot.
At some point, you just have to get naked and let Jake Retzloff do what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this thing where you're like, well, we don't want him to throw the ball. Let him RPO and just let him RPO. Let him run that pitch. Let him play keeper. Can we please get play action fake with this group of wide receivers?
Yes.
Can we get some play action?
Dude, Jake Retzloff gets in trouble when they're playing a physical defense that's getting penetration on the line of scrimmage, and he's got to run unscripted. When Jake Retzloff is rolling left or right, and it's scripted, it's how the play was meant to be run, he's fine. He puts that ball right on the mark. But when it's, hey, I've got 3 guys chasing me, I'm running for my life here, and I've got 3 feet left till I hit the sideline, I just got to throw it, that's when he gets in trouble.
Yeah, I think it is a really important week, and obviously. I
mean, come on.
Where
are you at on this game? You still like Ohio State?
Love Ohio State by 57 points. Too much.
Hey, sign stealer guy, can you help us out this week, dude?
Yeah,
please?
Can we get some of them Oregon Duck signs? I think the Utah game is massively important. I think BYU has to come out with big noon kickoff at BYU in Provo. You got a ball. And it's an afternoon kickoff against Arizona. It's going to be a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Time to come out and pimp strut. Let's go. And I want to see Jake Retzloff play action fake, roll to his right, step and throw the ball down the boundary to Darius Laster repeatedly.
I want to, and I agree with that. And my thing for BYU in this football game is I'm not focused on Jake. I think Jake's going to have a great game. I think he's going to light that defense up. My concern is BYU's defense against this Arizona offense, and specifically McMillan and Fafita. I think that BYU has the ability to make big plays and basically rattle opponents by turning them over, but they also have shown a little bit of they're a little prone to that deep shot, the big play wide receiver getting down the field a little bit.
You gave up 39 to New Mexico.
Yeah.
This defense can be had, which is why it's so shocking that Utah didn't beat them.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you,
I just want to see BYU come out and stay committed to stopping the run and forcing Fafita to go to somebody else besides
Tetaroa McMillan.
Tetaroa, yeah.
Yeah, you got to get away from it. I think BYU holding SMU the way they did, and remember that game was in Dallas. Just look at the front of the SMU jersey where it says Dallas. We're the best.
Right.
We the best I think
music.
Handily beating Wyo and Laramie.
Yeah.
Handily beating K-State. And I think they showed some character against Baylor. Now you're coming out of a bye week. I think BYU is going to win this game. And BYU is 4.5. I think this is a 10-point win for BYU because I do think giving Jake Retzloff and that offense a week to prepare for a pretty mediocre defense at Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's tough. You got to run the football because this team has to be able to control the clock. But I think this Ohio State-Oregon game is huge. I think the BYU game, I think the Utah game is really huge. I think if we look at the top 25,
not the FPI.
Not the FPI.
Yeah, the top 25. Just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Appreciate that, Save.
Yeah.
Obviously, Missouri at UMass. Okay, let's move on. Texas, Oklahoma at the soon-to-be renovated Cotton Bowl. Massive game. Penn State, USC at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Lincoln, you want to save your job? You got to beat Penn State this week. Yeah. And I know that Penn State doesn't have a runway long enough to actually, get to the game, but
we didn't have time to get to that other day.
Can we,
but
bro?
Why is James Franklin out here in press conferences talking about, hey, well, guys, we're having to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours to take out of Hartford or Harrisburg.
We gotta go to Harrisburg
because the runway at the local airport's just not long enough to support the jet we need to fly to the West Coast. Hey, Slick, got news for you, dude.
The slingshot that we used to launch our turboprop,
bro. What did you think this was going to be?
James Franklin sat at a press conference yesterday and talked about how they need to make a longer runway. No, actually they don't, sir. You're a college football coach. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you have to get on a bus and go to Harrisburg to fly? Bummer. Yeah, who here has pity for Penn State? Yeah, me either.
Hey, I got news for you, James. I've driven an hour to the airport. You can do it too.
GFOH. What are you talking about,
bro?
Man? What do you?
Come on. Be better.
The Monty Show presented by our good friends at Canyons Golf. Canyons Golf in Park City, the official golf club of the Monty Show. You can find it at Park City Mountain Resorts, Canyons Village. Go play 18 holes this weekend because it's the last weekend of the season at Canyons Golf. Can't wait to be up there. It's nice and crisp. The fall colors in the mountains, unbelievable. I am super stoked to drive through Park City, come on down Guardsman Pass, come through Cottonwood Canyon. It's going to be amazing. It's an amazing weekend. I would tell you, go play 18 holes of resort quality golf at Canyons, then go have a world-class meal in the village at Canyons Resort. It is at Park City Mountain Resort, Canyons Village. Go have a world-class meal. At the bottom of the Pendry building, there's a great little Mexican joint. Life is good. I am sad that golf season's coming to an end. But don't miss out. You still can go and play Park City Mountain Resort. Canyons Village is where you find Canyons Golf. Google search online, Canyons Golf, Park City. Book online. Tell them you heard about it at The Monty Show. Stadium Guy James. Oh, we changed our picture to a paper bag over our head.
Is that, bro, did you get exclusive access to Mike Gundy? Is that what that is?
No, that's Mike Gundy's kid, I think. which is to say Alan Bowman, because that's Mike Gundy's.
Wow.
The Ohio State is going to win, but Oregon will keep it close. Could be right. Smash the numbers. Ann Arbor is convenient to DTW, the best airport in the U.S.
Okay.
Yet another great thing about Michigan.
Okay.
Okay. Let me go up a little more here. Mayor McCluskey. BYU will show Utah how to properly beat a poverty program. Wow.
Program.
Now Arizona is a poverty program. UW fan Jim, if Baylor can hold the team together, they could get 6 wins by the hair on their chinny chins.
Yeah.
You're poorly coached. You don't have leadership. If I am being rational as a Michigan fan, I should root for OSU over Oregon because I need Michigan to have losses to number 2 and number 3 and get in with 3 losses. It's never going to happen. Bro, have you come to terms with the fact you don't have a quarterback?
But Monty, Jack Tuttle.
No. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Ferris
Alex
Khan
Orji.
who said that Alex Orji is going to have a breakout game, 150 yards, and we're going to beat Washington and
Stay hard.
They didn't combine. Wow. The Texans placed Nico Collins on injured reserve with a hamstring injury. With a returning designation, he's out 4 weeks. That's a huge loss for the Texans. But don't forget that they didn't combine all the quarterbacks to throw for 150 yards.
Right.
Tuttle had multiple turnovers. You're not getting in.
Yeah.
You're not, and nobody likes you. You're not getting in. Tanner Plummer, if Utah loses to Arizona State, I will probably die of laughter. Ooh, this could be a long show Monday. Cam Harrison, I agree, Tanner. Smash the numbers. Actually, Texas and OSU would be number 1 and number 2, not number 2 and number 3.
Anyway.
Okay. Hey, now you're trying too hard. You know. The stadium guy, James, I already said that. My bad. Mayor McCluskey, I only speak the truth. The eye patch. Arizona and TDS fans have a lot in common. Playing Utah is their Super Bowl. Well, who do you think Utah's Super Bowl is this year? Don't know how to break it to you. It would be undefeated BYU. Ferris, if they did a Super League and put Michigan in a 10-team division with the original Big 10 teams, I would be happy.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that'll be amazing. Sal Capone, Arizona OF. Arizona OC is trash.
Bro, we don't need to be talking about explicit content in the Arizona football program, okay? Like, let's make sure we get this typed out correctly.
Arizona has an OnlyFans
Yeah,
account?
like, what is that, dude?
Tanner Plummer, eye patch. If Utah loses to ASU, will you even show up to the show Monday morning? God, if that happens. That's so bad for us if that happens. John Dry, I don't know anything about Michigan Heineken Yankee drinking SOBs. LOL. Okay.
All
right. Mayor McCluskey, the mayor of Montytown. Sal Capone, just give me my money. They were at least good enough to beat the best defense in the country, or so I am told, Utah. Ooh, BYU fan is living high on the hog right now. High on the hog.
Talking that junk, dude.
Smash the numbers. I believe that Alex Orji can complete a forward pass. I haven't seen him do that. You got pulled for Jack Tuttle, who's played at, I think, every university under the sun, including Jita. I use the term play loosely because he hasn't gotten on the field much. Well, at Michigan he did, and then he fumbled and threw an interception.
Nice job, dude.
Alex Orji cannot complete a forward pass. Maury Alvarez, in order to beat someone like a redheaded stepchild,
damn,
you can't be a redheaded stepchild. BYU wins big. Wow. Attaboy, Maury. Utah is not Arizona's Super Bowl. No, they're not. No, they're not. Tanner Plummer, eye patch. Nice deflection, bro. There you go. No, the eye patch says. Whoever Utah plays in the Big 12 championship game, definitely not playing the TDS, but nice try, Monty. Are you going to make the Big 12 championship game?
Legit question.
If Isaac Wilson goes the rest of the season, I don't know that you make the Big 12 championship game. That's a big one.
All right, who are we giving the Amazon gift card to?
Yes, correct. Let's do it. everybody that made your donations. I think it's probably, but see, every time I give it to Calford, he says he doesn't want it.
Right. Yeah.
So I would give it to Calford on money alone. But don't we have to give it to Mayor McCluskey? He's back on the show this week. He made the donation.
Yeah, we can do that.
I think it's Mayor McCluskey.
Okay.
Because, he thinks that Abravanel Hall has been saved.
I don't really get it.
And when you say stupid, no, I'm kidding.
You say stupid things, you get stupid prizes,
It's always, I love having the old guys on the show.
Yeah.
And Mayor McCluskey donating to the cause. Chris Carnes won a smoker on the show. And when the Bears get a stadium, Chris Carnes can start winning Amazon gift cards.
Well, when they pass the taxpayer initiative to get the stadium, well, they don't. It doesn't have to be built. Yeah.
And he has invited us down to play golf, but we haven't had the bandwidth to do that.
Yeah.
I think we give it to Mayor McCluskey. You on board with that?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Yeah.
Mayor McCluskey, make sure you send Jake a DM.
$25 hairs.
$25 hairs. Don't forget, today is Amazon Prime Day number 2. Can you put Noodle golf balls on sale?
Are they not on sale
They
yet?
are not on sale.
Bro, what are we doing, man?
Noodle golf balls are not in the
guess,
Prime Day
Probies
sale.
are on sale.
Yes, they are.
$40 instead of $60.
I will slap you in the face if you pay $50 for a dozen of Proby ones. Just come over, I'll slap you in the face. Give me the $50. You're going to lose them anyway.
I'll deliver for you.
Yeah, you're going to lose them anyway.
Yeah. Come on.
The Monty Show is always presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. You never reach in your pocket to pay The Advocates. Let's start picking games tomorrow on the show. Thursday night football tomorrow night. It's all good. The Monty Show, presented by The Advocates. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.